Hello everyone, B1B Flyer here. Alright, in this video we're going to talk about how I do these desert bases. It's really quick, it's easy to do, so if you're looking for something you're doing in mass or you just want to have a starting point for other techniques and other things you want to do with just a textured sand base, I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly, relatively speaking. So I'm going to start out with some model color chocolate brown, and what I'm going to do is base coat underneath the sand color. I'm not painting the sand, so what I want to do is have a darker color just beneath that surface to kind of give a little bit of contrast. The great thing about sand is you can prime it, you can wash over it, you can highlight it. You have all sorts of options. So this is just going to be the basic starting point. So from there, once you decide you want to try it out, you can add or change or vary from whatever I've showed you here, and that way you've got some sort of starting point to get you going. So I'm putting on, it's a fairly thick coat. You do need to let it dry completely because we're going to use super glue, and you don't want any water or moisture interacting, because if you know anything about super glue, it's going to react with moisture, with water. It's going to crystallize immediately, and you don't want that. You want it to actually stay wet on the surface for the sand to adhere. So you can see I've got a nice thick base coat on there. I'm going to let that dry. Fortunately, I've already prepared another miniature here with the brown that's dried. So now I'm going to talk about super glue. I'm just going to use this Loctite super glue gel. That's what I like to use. It's really easy to work with, but any of the cheap stuff from the dollar store, anything in a liquid tube, that's fine. I just like this Loctite stuff because it doesn't dry out if I don't use the whole thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this top surface and I'm going to get a puddle of super glue, and then I'm going to use either a toothpick or a pin or whatnot to move the glue around. I'm trying to keep it from going on top of or onto any of the surfaces on the mech that I don't want it to do. And you don't try to do it all at once, but you want to definitely get in between the legs. This allows you that working time because it's not wet. I'm just going to do this front half first. And I've got my sand here. And I'm not really going to be able to do this on camera just so I don't make a huge mess, but I'm going to sprinkle the sand over the miniature. So pardon me while I take care of that. Okay, and as you can see, you're going to get some adhesive or adhesion there. It dried a little bit here, but that's fine. So all you do is just move on to a different area. So for instance, the side here. If you don't have them mounted on a cork, you can also hold the top of the miniature and do it from the bottom, just basically dipping into the sand in that particular fashion. And as you can see, it's gonna start to build up. Just keep in mind that this is going to be kind of bubbly, so some of this is going to be soft. And as you continue to go all the way around and get your super glue attached and your sand, you're going to get maybe some of these little hard edges or whatever. Wait for it to dry, work on a different area or work on a different miniature. Let it dry for, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then come back and just put a little bit right on that area, and then just put the sand on it, and you'll be able to fill in those little showing areas. But as you can see, the sand goes on relatively evenly. The higher areas are lighter, the lower areas are darker because we have that base coat underneath. So you get a good variation. You don't have to put any paint on it. Okay, I didn't mention it before, but I was just using some standard beach sand I have in a dish here. Pretty easy to get a hold of. I took it from the beach. You could also get craft sand if you want. So now that the super glue is dried underneath, and now I've got a nice even layer of sand on my miniature, what I'm going to want to do is add some desert scrub. And some of you are probably wondering why I use super glue instead of PVA, which you can do that for this if you want, but I prefer the super glue because it goes quicker, and I can target and put certain dots of glue here and there, and I can get a little bit of vertical differential that I can't really do with PVA as reliably. Of course, you could sculpt it underneath it. It's just personal preference. It does cost more. You are using a more expensive adhesive, but if you want it done quickly, I enjoy the results, and it just works for me. So that's why I use what I use. Now we are going to get into some PVA glue, and what we're going to do is put a dot or two down where we're going to put some desert scrub shrubs, bushes, things like that. So I'll just demonstrate a couple here. I've got some static grass, I should say. It's just in a little container here. I'm going to just dump it out so you can see what I'm doing with it. I've got a plate here to keep it contained. And the way you work with static grass is that you want to basically put it on your area where you want the grass to be in a big old glop like this. Cover up all that glue, give it just a little bit of time. And then what you're going to do is turn it upside down and then tap. And what it does is it causes that grass to stick up. Now you've got a nice little shrub there. You want to let the PVA dry completely. You can still see it under, so you don't want to touch it. You just want to set it down and let it be, and then afterwards you can blow it off because there'll be some remnants and stuff on the miniature, especially if you haven't sealed the miniature yet. And you just do that and then let the glue dry completely, and it's complete. Just things to look out for. If you have a metal miniature and you've attached them like this and you start doing that, be careful it doesn't fall off. I just did that a week ago with one of my miniatures, not paying attention to what I was doing, and it fell right off, fell on the floor, broke the arm off. So just be careful if you're using metal ones, or if you're using plastic or whatever. That's fine. You can hold it upside down and just tap it, or however you want to do it. But that's how you get the static grass effect. And then overall, once it's finished, it looks really good. All I have left to do on this miniature is put my matte finish on it and then gloss the cockpit glass, and it's complete. So thanks for watching. I hope this was informative. Please subscribe, leave your questions and comments below, visit camospecs.com, visit our Facebook page. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.